Nikki Lee, congratulations!
Thank you.
On your induction in the USA Water Ski and Wake Sports Foundation Hall of Fame with the Award of Distinction. And I have to say, I have been side by side with this lady for years after year, and it is so well deserving. It really is. The time that you have dedicated to the sport, to volunteer in so many different levels, and I'll talk about that a little later, just how we couldn't have a sport without folks like you.
Well, I've enjoyed every minute of it, and I've enjoyed working with good people like you and all the other volunteers that have joined us in our efforts.
So how did this all begin? I ask everybody that, you know, there's always that starting spot. Where was it for you?
Well, I went to pharmacy school at the University of Houston, and I was going down the hall one day and I saw a sign on the bulletin board and it said female water skiers needed. And I thought, that's me. That's me. I'm a female water skier. So I went out to the tryouts, and I found out that I wasn't really a water skier, not in the sense that they meant. And I met some people, Gordon Hall and Paul Risch and Jerry Bausch, and they taught me that first day. They taught me to trick ski, which I had never even heard of. And they taught me how to try to run the slalom course, which I also had never heard of. And then they said, okay, you're in. We've signed you up for the water ski team. So then I went to my first water ski tournament. It was a collegiate tournament. And of course, that's the way they do people in collegiate sports. They take them out there and they tell them how to jump. And they told me, they said, knees, trees, and freeze. And so that's what I did. And I went out there and I went at the ramp on the first time, and it was big and red, and it scared me, so I shut my eyes. And I went up the ramp, and of course I didn't make my first jump. And then the pickup boat came around to check on me, and it was Jimmy Thompson and Mike Lee, and they said, keep your eyes open. And I said, okay. So the second time I came around, I almost made it, but not quite. And then the third time I came around, I made my third jump, and I was like, oh, this is fun. I'm hooked.
You fell in love with it.
Yeah, and I was hooked.
In love with it.
That was it.
Wow. And then you happened to hang out with Mike Lee apparently a little bit after that.
I did. I kind of appreciated him helping me so much and teaching me to jump, and so
you married him.
I married him. Yeah, that's right.
Wow, that's fantastic. And what got you into officiating?
Well, the next thing I did was started going, after the collegiate season, we went to some regular AWSA tournaments. And when I went to my first tournament, I met some people, Ralph Armstrong and Jeffrey Armstrong and Mary Gail Holcomb, and they said, well, if you're going to go ski in water ski tournaments, you got to learn to help. You got to help out. So I started working on my judgeship, and I got my judges and scores rating at their insistence.
Went from there.
That's right.
And how long did you keep competing before you really got so involved in officiating?
I competed all the way up until I had my first child, and I really came back to skiing too soon. And the first time I went out and jumped after having a baby, I hurt my knee. I tore up my knee. And I never really wanted to have the surgery, so that was kind of the beginning of the end of my actual jumping. And so I guess that was 1984. Wow.
Well, you have done everything in the world of judging. I mean, you have got to judge at the most prestigious tournaments in the world, and that's very few select people are chosen for those positions. And you've done the Masters, the Worlds, the World Games, you know, Pan Ams.
And it's been a wonderful experience, and it's something I've enjoyed every moment of. But you have to remember that as an official, you're there for the skiers, and it's all about the skiers and their performances, and not being an official. So if you could be invisible, that would be ideal. For nobody to know that you're there, that's your goal.
Well, as I mentioned earlier about, you know, being a judge and being a part of it, it's people like yourself that volunteer all this time that if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have tournaments. And like when you first learned, and how they said, you need to help out.
Right.
You do, and not that many people do, unfortunately, but you need to help out because it's all volunteers, and we need judges, we need drivers, we need scorers, and those are jobs that aren't always so glamorous,
right.
Because you could be stuck in a tower all day long doing this and that, but it's folks like you that love it and do it that enables the others to be able to ski.
It is. It's fun, and through the years, I was a wakeboard judge, and I got to judge Sean Murray.
Oh wow!
And
being inducted tonight.
That's right. And I said that was a really cool thing that I judged all three of the people that are being inducted tonight, because Joe used to come to tournaments at our lake in Louisiana, and ski, and so I judged him, and then of course Mandy, I judged her at every level all the way up through the Masters. So
wow,
that's your goal. If you're judging someone and they do their best and they get a PB, I mean, you're right there with them. That's what it's all about. So.
That's fantastic. And, Mandy, it's kind of fun for me because in all her U.S. Opens that she won and set records in, I got to announce them. So
right, it's the same
for her
thing.
to be here tonight and be able to share that with her.
It
and
is,
then
it's the same
April
thing.
and I interviewed a little earlier, and I've, probably the same as you, have been with her throughout her whole career,
right.
from in the
That's
girls
right.
division on up. So it's kind of neat that you're getting to celebrate this tonight with people that you've spent a
Right,
lifetime with.
Right. I've either worked with or judged everybody that's here tonight. So
That's amazing.
it is.
Is there any one or two moments that have most stand out in your water ski life?
Well, I loved being in the boat for world records in jumping.
Oh, that's the best seat in the house.
Yep. I was in there for Sammy, one of Sammy's records. I was in there for I don't know if you remember Jimmy Seymour's setting a world record, but I was in the boat for his world record. And of course, Freddie.
I think I announced his world record.
It was in Texas.
It was in Texas.
That's right.
Yes, it was. That
Yeah.
was probably one of the best jump events I've ever seen.
It was wonderful, and when you saw him go up, it was just, whoa, this was perfect. Everything was, you knew everything had aligned,
Yeah.
and it was going to be a really good jump. So it was.
That was amazing. That was amazing.
So anytime you're involved in a world record, that's always exciting. And when the ski fly events came around, those were really fun too, because they were different, and the boats were going faster.
So fast.
The boat, yeah, and the skiers were jumping really far. So
almost Jarrett shy of 300 feet by a foot.
Right.
And I did get to do a little ski flying in my day, and in my division. It was terrifying as much as it was exciting. The boat scared you more than anything when it
Right.
took off. It sounded so loud, but yeah, those guys started off doing that with a 3/4 cut, and then they started going all out again, cutting at the thing at 42
Yeah.
miles an hour. Like
Everybody
it was a
said,
6-foot ramp.
it's going to be safe. They're just going
Yeah.
to take 3/4 and then.
That didn't last too long.
Right.
But how thrilling is to be sitting in the boat and watching that.
Oh, it was really, really, it was fun. That's something that'll just stick with you forever. I was lucky to get to be in the right place at the right time.
Well, you put in your time and you get those special
right.
opportunities. And you're still at it. I mean, you folks down at Tri-Lake saved the national championships this year by hosting it.
Yeah, that was also a challenge. That was a challenge.
We couldn't have done it without you, which was great. So any other things that ring a bell that you want to share?
Back in the day when I was chief judge of the Paws Tour, we did some live events broadcasted, and that's really a challenge. All of a sudden, we're at the lake and we're ready to go, and here comes I guess they call them straight line wind. It came in and it wiped out the whole entire slalom course. So we're going to be live on television in 15 minutes, and the whole slalom course is gone. And I don't know if you remember Tim and Carolyn Robinson, but I mean, the winds were just stopping, and it was still lightning and thundering, and Tim and Carolyn are out there hooking buoys back up, but we weren't going to make 15 minutes, and so we said, well, we have to do something, so we hollered, all the trick skiers go to the dock. And they did. All the trick skiers went down to the dock, and while Tim and Carolyn were putting the buoys back in,
They were trick skiing.
We trick skied, and
Wow.
the skiers were willing to do whatever it took to make the event
To
happen.
make it happen.
So instead of doing slalom, trick, and jump, we did trick and slalom and jump.
Just mixed it up a little bit.
Right.
Well, tonight's going to be exciting. It always is. And like when I talk to everybody doing this, when you get that phone call that you've been inducted, did you sit back and just think of how your whole career from the beginning to the end?
I thought there must have been a mistake. You were going to call me back in a few minutes.
No,
And say,
no.
"Oh,
So
well."
well deserved. I
So-
mean, you have done so much for the sport, and like I said, when you get picked to, judge the biggest tournaments in the world, it's because you're that good.
Well, it's an honor. It's an honor every time you get asked to do an event. And over the years, every time somebody calls and asks me, I'm always excited. I don't care what the event is. I'm just excited to be a part of it. So
Well, thank God.
I hope
we
I can
have
keep it
people
up.
like, well, you will as long as you're healthy. I'm sure you will.
And you
Nikki,
too, Hank. We need
well,
you to
thank
keep announcing.
Thank you. I'm flattered for you to say that. And congratulations on your award of distinction. And
Thank you so
looking
much.
forward to tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.